Dude, this cartoon is literally the best thing that ever exists. If only they made a video game about it, and then I would be able to play it. Alright, I have important news to tell you. What in the Double D? Is that you? Yes, it's me. I came all the way here from the cartoon world to the real world. It's because— Can I at least get an autograph from you? Because seriously, I am a huge fan of your show. Ow! Fuck. This is an autograph from me. Now will you listen to me? Alright. Wait a minute. You say you travel from the actual cartoon? How the hell did you even do that? Well, you see, I created this machine which allows me to travel through different dimensions. Here's how I did it.
6.5 hours later.
And that's how I got myself here. Ow! What? What is it? You didn't even pay attention to me. Well, I was hoping that you would tell me how you got here and not how you make the time machine. It's boring. Alright, I came here to warn you about something. Warn me? About what? It was brought to my attention that someone has created a game based on our show, and I cannot allow you to play it. But wait, why wouldn't you want me to play it? I'm sorry, I am but out of time. Whatever you do, do not play the game. I should probably lay off the grass. The fuck? Ooh, what's this? An Eddy game? Might as well play it. Got nothing else better to do. Wait a minute. What if that whole thing earlier was real? Should I really play it? Fuck it, I'll play it. I should probably review it as well. I bet everyone must at least heard of Ed, Edd and Eddy. It is a cartoon that most late 90s and early 2000s kids would be familiar with. The cartoon aired in Cartoon Network from 1999 to 2009, with their final episode being a movie. If you don't know what that show is, then why are you here right now? But really though, if you haven't watched the cartoon, then you must have at least seen memes on the internet. But aside from that, making a video game based off a cartoon is a no-brainer. Many video game developers have made other Cartoon Network games like Ben 10, Code Lyoko, Scooby Doo, Samurai Jack, and so on. The majority of those games would be extremely entertaining for kids and adults who are fans of said cartoons. But the thing that developers need to remember is to make sure it fits the original story, make the gameplay fun, and make it appealing to both kids and adults alike. The reason why I want to review this specific game is because I haven't really picked it up in a long time. But now that I have it, I should probably see how the game works. Brings back old memories. But enough of that. I think we should start talking about the story. Oh wait. Okay, so I just noticed that there's really no plot at all. Unlike most games I've played, where it has a specific goal you must reach, or it has a story that you learn about as you play. Instead, you play 6 different episodes of Ed, Double D, and Eddy's adventures. To access these levels, you explore a cul-de-sac and find a place where the levels would take place. Here's what I like about this. It actually makes you think you're watching an actual episode of the show. You just play it out. And it even has the funny things we love in that show. But that seems to be the only thing that is positive. The gripe I have with this is that all levels together are short. But I'll talk about that later on. Wait, hold on. What? Oh, I don't need to go on any further with this? Oh, okay. So I've been told by my non-existent producer that there's nothing much more to say about the plot other than that, it just plays like an episode. So I'll just give the score anyway. It's a 7 out of 10. I'll explain more later on why I gave the story a low score. Yeah, it has puns here and there to make everyone laugh. But there's more than that. Before I start talking about the extensive parts of the gameplay, I just want to talk about the basic stuffs you would already know. Each characters have their own specific abilities that help progress through the levels. You have Ed's ability to lift up heavy objects that he can use to throw at enemies or to make a new path. He can even be used to charge to break certain objects and to go fast. Double D's ability is to activate gizmos that are scattered around the levels in order to continue the level. He also carries a slingshot with him, which he can shoot water balloons at enemies, and again, other targets to get through levels. Double D also has the ability to use the other Eds as a trampoline to get to a platform that is far to jump across. Then you have Eddy, who can throw stink bombs to stun enemies, and he can climb onto his friends to travel through thin platforms and to grab objects that are far to reach. Well, that's all the basic things that I need to discuss. Now let me describe to you how the gameplay works for this game. The gameplay is shit. I'll be honest, I've seen worse gameplay than this, but it's right up there. The Ed's abilities don't even respond to the buttons most of the time. Speaking of abilities, what makes them so bad? Before I go over that, I want to explain how the abilities work. It's simple. All you have to do is find an object that glows the same color as the characters. That is, if you can find it. I can't even tell whether that's poor design or horrible gameplay mechanic. But looking for an object that can be used by your ability is really frustrating, considering that the game's objectives makes no sense at all. You would easily get lost in a level looking for something to progress through a level, and it really makes the game boring and longer than it should. That is the problem too. All the levels are extremely short unless you end up struggling in a section. It would be understandable if the level is to learn the controls of the game, but the time you can spend in a level if you actually know what to do or if you played the game before is really short. Sorry, I got sidetracked. What was I talking about again? Oh yeah, abilities. So why are the abilities as bad as I say they are? Well, fasten your seatbelts everyone, because it's going to be a bumpy ride. Beginning with Ed's ability to pick up objects, he can only pick up objects that can only be used for story purposes and has no crosshair at all, so you can throw it at a target and you can easily miss. Oh, and his other ability where you can use Ed as a way to ram objects, you can barely tell which object to push or break unless you are close to an object that are glowing green. If there are no objects, you can also use it to go through levels faster, but if you ram into a wall by accident due to him being slippery, you literally have to wait a few seconds to recover, and good luck getting away from enemies around you because you'll take damage just for being close to them while you're trying to get up. Eddy's ability to stand on the other two is very frustrating. When you pick up an object, you cannot get hit by anything, or else you drop it and you have to start over again from the beginning of the checkpoint. And traveling on top of a beam that is really thin is also frustrating, considering that you have to perfectly balance on top. If you fall, back to the checkpoint with you. Oh, and did I mention that his stink bombs don't do shit whatsoever? Yeah, you think you have it close to a squirrel, but you have no way of actually hitting them, all due to poor hitboxes. Now Double D's ability is just the worst, and I hate saying this considering that I like the character. But using the Eds as a trampoline doesn't even work half the time. You literally need to lean against the wall for it to work in order to reach higher places, but even that doesn't work half the time either. And don't get me started on using a slingshot. You literally have to be close enough to shoot a target. It may look like you hit it, but it feels like an invisible wall. Oh, and looking for any sort of device is a pain in the ass considering you need to be extremely close to whatever object you are finding to see if it will operate. Sorry about that. I think I got too carried away. I think I should talk about the collectibles next. Around every level you play has certain collectibles you can find. First are the jawbreakers. Those are extremely easy to find. Well, at least for me, considering I like to explore every inch of a level. Collecting these jawbreakers can get you cheat codes, but I'll also explain that later. A different way of collecting jawbreakers are by spending coins you've collected each level on a jawbreaker machine. Do keep in mind that every time you spend on jawbreakers, the price goes higher. Another thing you can find are sandbox clothes. Those I never knew existed considering that I was more focused on finding jawbreakers. But in order to find them, Ed must find a sandbox and dig through it to get one. There are a total of 6, one in each level. Wait, Ed can dig through sandboxes? The game has never even told... You know what? I'll talk about that later as well. Where was I? Oh yeah, collectibles. Finding these clothes can unlock bonus episodes, and the last thing you can find are Easter eggs. No, not like as in hidden secrets, but actual Easter eggs. Every level includes a small section where you can chase a chicken that holds the eggs. That's where Ed's ability to go fast comes to play. You'll be on a timer to ram yourself into the chicken and pick it up for you to pick up the egg. If you are unable to get it before the time runs out, that's fine. The game allows you to try again from the beginning of where you start the chase. So yeah, you don't even have to start the level over to redo that. Again, these eggs can also unlock extras in the game. 3 of the 6 extras being just movies you can access from the booth in the level selection area. The other 3 are to change the looks of the character. So that's enough of the gameplay. I'll be honest with you. Explaining that train wreck is very tiring. So after this review, I'm gonna take a long ass nap. The gameplay is a 5 out of 10. Normally I would go on saying how awful the graphics are, but I'll be honest, the graphics are really good for a game from 2005. Even the level designs are good as well. It really captures the scenery of cul-de-sac rather nicely. And the character models are accurate. They actually look like the characters if they are in 3D. I find it really pleasant. Oh god! Oh come on! How the fuck did you screw this up? Shit, Ed is the only playable character whose model is perfect. This is a complete train wreck. You know what? I'm done with this shit. Cut to commercials.
Hey, you!
Eddie, what are you doing in my room? And why do you have my camera?
Don't you hate it when cankers get in your room and try smooching you?
Yes, but what does it have to do with...
And don't you want to get these cankers off your hat? Then try out our most recent creation, Canker Be Gone!
Eddie, it's just a simple air freshener.
Just point and spray at cankers. Simple. Costs 25 cents plus shipping and handling.
Okay, then tell me, Eddie. How does a simple air freshener repel the cankers exactly?
Ugh. Do you always have to ruin this? Can't you see I'm trying to make money to get me some jawbreakers? You know what? I'll go bug Ed. Enjoy your day, sockhead.
Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. I'll continue. The only thing that is a positive side about the character models is that it really creates a lot of humor for the audience, like how an episode is.
Well, find it! The longer we stand around, the less people will see my latest disco moves. Looks like you forgot about your best pal.
No! Plank!
So, how about that valve, Johnny? These clams look kinda hungry.
Plank says, bring it on, you sissies!
What the? Just give us the valve and I'll give you a plank.
They're not fit for human consumption.
What's happening to my face?
You're having an allergic reaction, Eddie. I'd stay away from foot powder if I were you.
Look at me! I'm hideous!
Those never gets old. Graphics aside, I want to get into how the game supposedly works. This game is objective based, so you have to do what the game tells you. Well, that is if the game is clear enough. The only way to know what you need to do is by checking the pause menu. But that is it. It just tells you the main plot of the episode and not what you need to do until you reach a certain part of the level. It leads to a lot of confusion. I know I had a lot of trouble mainly because I didn't know where to go and what I needed to do. And as you may already know, bugs and glitches. Roll the clip! As much as I want to badger the game for its unclear objectives, bugs, and questionable character models, I want to say that the design is not that bad. So I'll give it a 6 out of 10. I want to go over the simplest thing about the soundtrack, the music. I really enjoy the music that plays throughout the game. And another thing that I really enjoy is the voice acting. As you would expect from a game that is going to be based on a show, the original voice actors would voice their characters. Another thing that I want to mention is that when you are using Ed's ability to ram objects, the music starts changing. Just a little thing that I want to point out. But that's all I really wanted to say about the good things. Here's the thing I really don't like about the soundtrack. It is the fact that the dialogue during gameplay is repeated so many times, and and the sounds are really annoying to listen to. It really felt that the developers were too lazy to make different dialogues while the players play the game. So they would hear the same thing over and over again.
This should work. This should work. I don't know. It seems terribly risky and unsanitary, to say the least. I don't know. It seems terribly risky and unsanitary.
But I don't think that's the worst part when it comes to repetition. The game over screen is something that leaves so many gamers frustrated. Oh, come on! Fuck this game! Sorry about that. Soundtrack's a 6 out of 10. Okay, so some of you are probably thinking what I think about the game overall. Well, let me tell you, it's cool! Do you not realize what you've done? Wait, what do you mean? I just simply reviewed the game and just want to give my final thoughts on it. No one ever listens to me. The whole reason why I didn't want you to review it is because you'll say a lot of negative things about it, give it a low score, and our show will be canceled. Well, if you actually sit back and listen... I don't like this. Anyway, what I'm about to say was, although the game suffered from a lot of gameplay issues, had unclear objectives, repetitive soundtrack, and how short the game was, I should be saying that it's probably one of the worst cartoon-based games I've played, like Family Guy Back to the Multiverse, Simpsons Wrestling, Rugrats Scavenger Hunt, South Park, and Young Justice Legacy. Like, seriously, how'd you fuck up Young Justice? Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that the game doesn't deserve too much of a backlash. Behind all of these issues, I still had some fun with it. I mean, yeah, it gets really frustrating at times due to its control schemes. But I guess it's because I grew up watching the show and enjoyed the game for its humor and somewhat fun levels. So the total for this game is a 24 out of 40. I suggest giving the game a try if you'd like to try it out. See if it fits your style. Wow. I didn't really expect that. Hey, it's what I like to do best. I like to be tough but fair. Besides, I love the show too much, and I wouldn't bash too much on one game. Unless it was a major disappointment. Well, I really do appreciate that. Before I have to go back to my world, I want to ask, what are you going to do from here? I do have more games to review. Starting with this one.